Hello, everyone. I'm Leslie Rohde with AskTheLawyers.com, and welcome to another episode of Ask the Lawyer. In recent years, thousands of veterans who served between the years of 2003 and 2015 have filed lawsuits against the manufacturer 3M Company. They all allege that defective earplugs made by that company have led to permanent hearing damage for them. Today, we're fortunate to be talking with attorney Jack Hickey of the Hickey Law Firm in Miami about this subject. Always good to see you, Jack.
Good to see you, Leslie.
Set this up for us, if you would, please, and just tell us what the problem is with these earplugs.
So 3M, a large corporation out of Minnesota, manufactures for the military these earplugs. The purpose of these earplugs is safety. It's not to listen to your favorite radio station. It is safety to block out very harmful noise when you're in combat, when you're shooting a gun. And pretty much anybody who's ever shot a gun, which is almost everybody, knows that it is an explosion. It's a controlled, smaller, explosion, and is very damaging, especially on a repetitive basis. And when you're in combat, when there's not only firearms, namely your own, but also other people's, but also explosions with not only the sound, but the concussion reverberations, sound like that can be very, very harmful. 3M manufactured earplugs for the United States military, and the earplugs they supplied between 2003 and 2015 were proven to have a defective design where they did not block out the very harmful sound and decibels from the ear and the inner ear.
What particular people can file these claims against the company?
Right. So a couple of things. First of all, veterans. Second of all, who were in service and in combat and used these earplugs from 2003 and 2015, and of course, who suffered hearing problems or loss within that time. There are also some civilians who are eligible if they in fact did use these earplugs in service of their country within that period of time. You know, there are civilian employees of the United States military.
Right, who are working alongside over there. You're right about that. What about the cost? Everyone always wants to think about and consider the cost before he or she even begins to think about filing one of these claims.
Right. Well, you know, the attorneys who, myself included, who take these claims, we work on a contingency basis. So if we don't recover, you don't pay. And the consultation is free. So any call to determine whether you are the right person for these lawsuits, that's absolutely free. People should not be concerned about that. And if we don't recover, you don't pay.
It's good to know. You'll kind of give people an idea first before they forge on into that, for sure.
Right.
Now, we talked about these years. These were manufactured between 2003 and 2015. What's the time limit? Do I have a time limit as to when I can file, how long I have to file?
Yes. So, you know, that's a good question. And I tell people, listen, there's a time limit for everything in the law, with the one exception. The only exception is first-degree murder. So there's always a time limit on filing claims and on everything. In many states, well, it varies from state to state, by the way. In many states, that time limit is 2 years. Some cases, it's 4 years, but you should act as quickly as possible. There are states which have a 1-year statute of limitations, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Louisiana, and unfortunately, it's really just too late for those folks. But for the other folks, they should act right away. In some states, it's from when the time clock begins ticking from when you knew or should have known. And that's sort of, can be up in the air. But in any event, time is of the essence, as we say, call right away.
Who's most at risk here? You've mentioned veterans. You've mentioned some of the civilians. Do you want to tell us about any case that you know about or that you've worked on of the people who are at risk and how it affects their lives?
Yeah, I mean, hearing loss affects your life just about every minute of the day, and we get calls and talk to people all the time who have been in combat. They've served their country. They thought it was temporary. They thought that their hearing loss or their problem was temporary once they got out of the combat field. They thought it would go away. They suffer from tinnitus or tinnitus, depending upon who you talk to, which is the ringing in the ear, the constant, the high-pitched ringing in the ear, and they also suffer from hearing loss. And there's a real feeling, and we get these stories all the time, of people who feel alienated. They feel separated from their family because they don't hear conversations. They don't hear the TV. They have to turn the TV way up. And it's something that affects every aspect of your life. It affects your happiness. It affects whether you're, and this oftentimes causes people to go into depression because they feel like, hey, I'm not a part of my family anymore. So yeah, the stories are really heartbreaking. Some of the stories are heartbreaking on this.
Sure they are. It really would affect your relationships with those members in your family as well. Just that ability to communicate is so important. What advice do you have for folks who may be listening to this and are thinking, maybe I might be a candidate for one of these claims?
Well, two things. One is to call an attorney right away. You can call us right away, and we'll sort through whether you are appropriate for these claims. And two is, of course, if you haven't done so already, go to your doctor, especially an ear, nose, and throat doctor, and get tested. Or go to the VA. Go to the VA and get tested and specifically tell them that you suffered hearing loss, if that in fact is true, that you feel you suffered hearing loss as a result of earplugs or the defective earplugs when you were in combat. So go to the VA, get it documented, get it analyzed, get it diagnosed, and of course, call an attorney.
Jack, thank you, as always, for being with us. Jack Hickey of the Hickey Law Firm in Miami.
Thank you, Leslie.
We appreciate all of you watching this episode of Ask the Lawyer. I'm Leslie Rohde for AskTheLawyers.com, where you can choose a lawyer that lawyers choose.